Hello everyone. I thought I'd put up a quick video and take you through just a couple more outlining things or a recap of what we talked about the other day and show you where you can find an exemplar on our D2L page. So you can see in the large screen, which I think is right up here, if I'm recording this correctly, I'm on our D2L homepage there where you can see the news feed, which presumably is where you're watching this video. If you go to our content page, which is just our main page that you find in D2L there, either in class documents or the table of contents under class documents. The very top idea here is the speech one sample outline. I just put this up a couple of days for you. This is from a couple of semesters ago. I've changed it a little bit, but it's a former student outline. I have permission to put up. It was a decent speech and it's worth looking at. Uh, and to download this to your own computer, you'll see an arrow right here where my cursor is. If you click on that, it'll send the document to your computer. It might not automatically open like it did on mine, but I don't know exactly how your computer works. As I told you the other day in class, do yourselves a favor and start here with the body. Once you get your main ideas down, the introduction is going to be just a little bit easier. You don't have to have the complete body finished to work on the intro or the conclusion, or even to bring to class on Tuesday for points. But get your thoughts in order and get your citations in there, and you can do some changing after we meet and workshop these things this next week. So if you're looking at this particular speech outline and do yourselves a favor, maybe pause the video and pull this up for yourself or zoom in on the video so you can see things a little closer. This one is obviously about our state budget cuts. It's about a year and a half old, so it is slightly dated, but it's not really a big deal for our purposes this afternoon. So in the first main point here, you can clearly see where he's talking about the problem, the community concern, right? So we had state budget cuts. There was a $300 million proposed cut to the system. We ended up losing just slightly less than that, but it was still a big deal. He goes through and he proves these things by using different articles, brings in the journalist names, the authors, tells us what the title of the articles were and what the information is outside of it and why that matters to people. Gives you a nice little transition in between your main points to let you know, like, first main point's finished. Now follow me, we're going to move on to a different but related idea. And then he brings it in with that information and knowledge transfer. And this is pretty easy to look at. So if you go up here, you can really see some very informational thoughts. And if you go down to the second main point, it really does feel more like he's speaking to a specific audience. And that's where you see that information and knowledge transfer. Again, information is just data, statistics, raw materials. But knowledge is something that we'll be able to use. We can see how it affects us, how we might be able to use it for ourselves. And here he's talking about how it's affecting students. So tuition and fees could be increased. There's a tuition freeze that ends next year. So a year and a half from now, that'll kick in for the fall semester 2017. And they could make this money up through tuition hikes. We could lose programs and other things like that. So you're seeing a very clear cause and effect model for his pattern of organization. The other one that we talked about the other day is problem solution, where we're seeing like what problems exist. So you could still have this same sort of budget crisis thing. And I guess there's an argument if you look at this here where we talk about how things could be fixed in a problem solution format. But he is really looking at causal effects. So if you take a look at his two main ideas, and I apologize if I'm going fast, I imagine that you can pause and restart and backtrack and move forward with the video. So the first main point is the state budget cuts, and the second main point are the effects on students. And that's going to make it really easy to go back and do an introduction to this point. Specifically, you can start right away and get a preview filled out because we know immediately there's two main points. We know what the first main point is and the second main point, and so an easy preview setup is I will begin today by explaining the budget cuts to the UW system, like he does in the first main point, and then move on to discuss the effects on students, as he does in the second main point. Moving on from there, we need to have those bits and pieces of the narration, so he's got to do something to bring the audience into it, some sort of attention getter, a hook. And here he's using a hypothetical situation where he's talking about somebody's first day at the university in the fall, and then he goes on to explain that this actually happened to him, where he showed up on the first day and found out his classes were canceled due to some budgetary issues. So he's got some personal credibility. He can give you a little bit of goodwill, talk about how he doesn't want this to happen to anybody else, and he draws us into the speech that way. And he's really clear about his thesis statement. We're all students here. We value continuing education, and it's important to understand how our state's budget cuts pose serious issues to the UW system as a whole, to all of us at UWM. I understand it feels like he's almost repeating himself in the preview, but he's being a little bit more exact on what's coming up in the body of the speech. And as we mentioned the other day, really is a favor to the audience when we make sure that the audience knows exactly what to listen for as we go through the speech. Now, once those two things are done, it's very easy to go and work on the conclusion because, again, you already have the thesis figured out. You had that in the introduction. It's really easy to recap the main points. And then let me point out one more time there, that very last thing, the peroration. And this is that weird, I guess weird isn't the wrong word, the weird word that basically says it's a final call to action. This is a chance to let people know if they'd like some more information or if they want to get involved. Now you can put just a little bit of a persuasive spin on it and say, hey, here's how we can get involved with things. Or it could just be people are doing good work and they're trying to help out, and you can look up more information on your own. But it really is just that last little bit that rounds out the speech and says, you can do a little bit more if you'd like, but I am finished, so it's all up to you to find that information from here on out. In any case, folks, take a good look at this outline. I hope it helps out. If you have questions, don't be afraid to email and ask. I'm happy to answer those things. I'll be around pretty much most of the weekend. It's going to be really cold on Saturday, so I don't think I want to go anywhere. Though I will have a few Valentine's Day plans with my wife, but we'll be in and out, and I'll be checking my email throughout the day. Don't forget to bring your outlines to class on Tuesday, and I will see you at 3 o'clock that day.